Wenn wir sonntags in die Kirche gehen, es war immer so, bleiben wir noch erst im Wirtshaus stehen, es war so, du lieber Gott im Himmel rein.
Part 1. In October 2014, the San Jacinto College Honors Program sent out an exciting announcement. There would be a History 2389 course that would take the class to Berlin and Munich. I applied and got accepted. I welcome you to join me and my classmates on this breathtaking overseas adventure. Of course, it all begins at the airport. There's about an hour left, so I'm pretty excited. Yeah? How do you feel about this?
He's just chilling. He's like, bro.
Oh no, I can't do that.
Alright,
Don't do that in Ireland.
Come on, Philip.
It's offensive.
Am I supposed to say something?
Yes.
I'm camera shy.
Oh, well, it's not a camera.
Oh, okay. I'm good then.
And talk.
I'm talking right now.
Talk to the recording device.
Alright.
Alright, Rebecca. Anything to say? Any thoughts?
Not really. I think I overpacked.
Well,
We got the birds in here.
So on the flight to Chicago, I got a window seat. I also had a TV that was playing Deadliest Catch, but when I tried to change the channel, well, it asked me to pay. Well, I had a whole view to look at. So we arrived in Chicago and then basically waited for our flight to Dublin.
Where's that from? Billy.
Yo!
Creeper.
Oh my god! Creeper!
This time we had a lot of apps and games and movies, but my screen was broken. I'm just showing the camera how mine's messed up. It's significant.
Oh dear lord. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. This chicken doesn't look that bad. Sure, two. All right.
Dublin.
Your hills and dales and flowery vales that lie near the moorlaw shore. Your wines that blow by Bardin's grove, will I ever see you more? Where the primrose grows and the violet blows.
This building in front of me is the Irish Parliament House. Today, it's the Bank of Ireland.
didn't follow that church line, you were unruly. They called Presbyterians dissenters, and Catholics were even worse. You couldn't own a sword, you couldn't own a horse worth over a certain value, you couldn't own a house worth over a certain value, you couldn't enter the army, you couldn't enter Trinity College, and you definitely, no way in Christ could you enter Parliament.
We then made our way to O'Connell Street, named after Daniel O'Connell, or the Liberator.
He rejected political violence as a means to an end. He believed that change could only come about through a mass movement. If you rejected violence in the 19th century, when it was very much the order of the day in politics, how do you achieve political change? Well, O'Connell believes through mass mobilisation. He establishes a movement called the Catholic Association, charges a membership fee of 1 penny a month, and throughout the first half of the 19th century, it becomes the single largest mass movement Ireland had seen up to that point. 1 penny a month. It didn't matter if you owned a shop in Dublin, if you were a middle-class shop owner, or if you lived in a bog in Galway. If you paid 1 penny a month, you could join O'Connell's movement. Women could join it on an equal basis to men. How many people joined it? Well, at a single meeting in Cork in 1815, over 100,000 people enlisted in the movement. That was unprecedented, and what it was politics changing.
That's a metal bridge.
The bridge was owned by a family called the Walsh family. William Walsh, perhaps the greatest entrepreneur in the history of Dublin. He read in an Irish newspaper that they cast a metal bridge at Shropshire in England. And he wondered, could a bridge of that calibre, of that kind, be placed over the River Liffey? The reason he wanted to place a bridge here was he believed it could replace the ferry service. In other words, the labour could be removed, but the toll could remain. You remove the laborious task of bringing people across the river, but you continue to charge them. He places the bridge here in 1816, and there's an immediate public scandal. Dublin Corporation are baffled by this, they don't know how to approach the issue, and local government, they reach an agreement with Walsh. And the agreement is that he can charge people for 100 years. The family can charge people till 1916, but at that point it must be gifted to the city. So that's the deal. On the day the bridge became free to cross in 1916, the newspapers reported, according to the Irish Times, people queued for half an hour to walk across this bridge. You know, the resentment for free, the resentment towards the toll was always there.
Right across the street was Temple Bar. Temple Bar is basically Dublin's cultural center.
So if you're a Dubliner, it's kind of trendy to hate Temple Bar. I'm sure wherever you're from, there's an area like this. You know, if you're a New Yorker, it's Times Square. And I suppose Temple Bar, I'm a rare thing. I'm a defender of Temple Bar because of its history. Oh yeah, I know you. It's all right. Because of its history. I was about to turn around and go back. This was warehouses and factories right into the 70s and the 80s. It was essentially the industrial heart of Dublin. And at that point, as they were knocking down warehouses and factories, what they wanted to do here was clear this old historic district and construct a central bus station for Dublin. That was the great vision of the Irish government of the 1970s, to clear the district in its entirety and to construct a bus station here. There was a bad time for architecture in Ireland. Exhibit A is the central bank right beside us here. And the bus station wasn't much better. It was brutalist in architectural style. It would have gutted this area entirely.
I found an artist named Billy Tracy, and he has a song called Temple Bar.
Don't you know you're about to enter Dublin's cultural centre? Pedestrianised streets of cobblestone, where the places are all hopping, with tourists eating shopping. Guaranteed you'll never drink alone. But take a look around, for the natives can't be found, except for the junkies, beggars' fears. The locals have more sense, euro, shillings, pence, and they know round here they won't go in Temple Bar, in Temple Bar. The dirty old town of Molly Malone and whiskey in the jar. There'll be drinking songs aplenty, but your pockets they'll be empty. 'Cause round here, your money won't go far. In Temple Bar, in Temple Bar. It's figures, tarts, drink figures, there's nothing on a par.
I've always said Irish history is a history of outside influences. We're a tiny little island, literally out on our own, but we've always been shaped by the world. You know, today you've already heard of people like Napoleon, people like Frederick Douglass, outsiders who arrived here in this city, in this country. Irish history is a history of rebellion, it's a history of revolution, and yet the motto of the Irish capital, translated, essentially proclaims that the happiness of the city depends upon the obedience of its citizens. And there is perhaps no city in the world historically less obedient than the one you're standing in. This is Dublin Castle, believe it or not though. And Dublin Castle was the centre of political power in Ireland from 1204 until 1922. So right through the course of Irish history, this is the epicentre of political power, the fortified home of British rule in Ireland in later times. Who built a castle in Dublin in 1204 and why did they bother? Well, the castle was built by the Anglo-Normans. You saw that painting inside of them seizing control of Dublin. No one changed Dublin as rapidly as they did. Before them, Dublin was essentially a Viking town. When the Anglo-Normans get here, they dismantle the old wooden buildings, the Vikings. They build stone buildings in their place. They build a stone wall around. The Vikings that settled here were not Danes, but Norsemen. They arrived about the year 840. And yes, initially there was confrontation. But what they don't teach us in school, what's conveniently overlooked, is that in time, especially from about 917 on, there was integration and assimilation between the new and the old. Now the Norse integrated themselves into their surroundings, and rather than raping, robbing, pillaging and destroying everything, they became a part of what was around them. We use a term to describe early Dubliners, we call them Hiberno-Norse. You know, Hiberno coming from Hibernia. Hiberno-Norse means Irish Viking. They tell us we banished them in 1014, yet Christ Church, the very first Christ Church that was built on this location, was built about 1030 on the orders of a man named Sitrick Silkenbeard. Pardon me. Sitrick Silkenbeard is not a very Irish name. You won't find the Sitrick Silkenbeard propping up a bar stool in Dublin today. You know, Sitrick Silkenbeard is as Norse a name as a Norse name comes, and he is the king of Dublin in 1030. So rather than being a banished, defeated force, you have Vikings integrated and leading Dublin in 1030. They built a small wooden church here that overlooked the humble wooden settlements, what we now know as Wood Quay. Sadly, the Viking church, nothing remains of it. Wood does that over time. But you can see these stone remains beside it. Always baffling visitors, the stone ruins here.
That's it. I didn't always sit in the coffee shops. Until my professor decided to go see Trinity College. Could be Tim Browder if you're walking on that line.
Train journeys? Trains are gonna be fun though. I've never been in a train. I'm kind of tired of filming the airport sequences. So. Then we finally arrived to Berlin.
I don't know where we're going.
My bag is not with me.
You are not with your bag.
We're literally an ocean apart. How do I feel about that? Bad. I'm up for the challenge.
tired. And if I don't get some food and sleep soon, I'm making the fat kid.
Que mañana. Sí. Y nos tomamos.
This apartment is huge.
Später dann im Straßengraben, es war immer so, es war so. Der Teufel kann uns gar nicht kriegen, der Herrgott weiß ja, wo wir liegen, denn wir sind ja seine Kinderlein. Es war immer so, es war immer so, stinkbesoffene kleine Sünderlein. Es war immer so, es war so.